Clemson basketball hasn't won an NCAA tournament game in consecutive years since 1989 and 1990. So you'll forgive me if I thought next year would be a rebuilding year, especially with all they're losing. But Coach Brownell has went to the portal. He's found two immediate impact transfers, and next year could be another very good season where they make the tournament and maybe win a game or two, or three. Right. So let's talk about what they lost and how they're replacing them. Obviously, PJ Hall. Not officially, but from all indications, seems like he'll be leaving Clemson and trying his hand at professional basketball. He does have the COVID waiver, so it's possible he comes back, but doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. He's gone. His backup, who really didn't play much, Bas Leida from the Netherlands, he's gone. So that's two big men. Joe Girard, one of the best scorers, best offensive players, really efficient. Per Ken Palm's efficiency metrics. Joe Girard, he's gone after 1 year, but an awesome year where he made 105 3-pointers while shooting 41% from three. That's a loss. So those are the guys who are departing, because of eligibility. But Jack Clark, who we assumed was departing because of eligibility, is actually petitioning for a 7th year, and he's in the portal. So he's, I guess, transferring from the portal, but he was a guy we were assuming was leaving anyway. Good defensive player, but a pretty big negative on offense. So, I mean, I think he did what he was supposed to do and was a valuable member of the team, but I don't think it's a huge loss. Josh Beadle was a backup guard. He eventually found himself not only behind Chase Hunter, but also behind Dylan Hunter. So I think we all anticipated him leaving. He's going to Boston College. So that's all fine. The one that was really disappointing, RJ Godfrey entered the portal. Don't know where he's going yet, but it feels a little bit like we were robbed because he came to Clemson not as a huge recruit. He developed. Clemson did a great job developing him. He was very raw, big, strong guy, but very, very raw when he came in. And we saw it throughout this year, really became a much, much better player. Godfrey he was probably going to start. So that is a pretty big loss and a real bummer. It's the thing that people hate about college sports right now so much. You bring a guy in, you develop him, and then someone offers him NIL money and he leaves for it. So we'll see where he lands, but that's a big bummer. And with all those losses and the Godfrey loss, especially just the way it hit at the end, really felt like after an Elite Eight appearance, next year's going to be a rebuilding year. They'd be lucky to even be a bubble team. But Brownell's not going to accept that. He goes out, he gets active in the portal, and he's so far, and there could be more, but so far he's brought in 2 immediate impact transfers. And I think that's something to be really excited about. Viktor Lakhin, from Cincinnati, center, 6'11", and Jaden Zachary, a 6'2" guard from Boston College. Both of those guys are going to make a big impact. Let me give you a little background on both of them. So with Laken, and I think most people were expecting Brownell to bring in another guy like Mark Donald, if you remember from the 2018 team. They brought him in to be a backup center, and he did a great job in that role, averaged about 4 and 4, but was effective in the role, kind of like a Bas Leida, but Donald was a little bit more effective and stayed healthy. So that's what we were thinking, someone like that who could give depth behind Shefflin. But no, they got Viktor Lakhin, who is originally from Anapa, Russia, which is along the Black Sea, like north of Sochi. He's been at Cincinnati for 4 years. Not a great shooter, 56% free throw shooter, 26% from three, but he's 6'11", so he's a post guy. You work it down to him. He's got a great hook shot, and that's what he does. He's not going to be outside chucking a bunch of threes, just barely enough that the defense has to actually defend it. But he's a guy who is going to battle inside along with Ian Shefflin. So I think this probably allows Shefflin to start at power forward where he started last season. When healthy, I expect Laken to start at center. And health is the question. When he's on the court, he's good, but he's battled lower body, like ankle injuries, for a lot of his time at Cincinnati. As a junior, or I should say redshirt junior, last season, redshirt junior, sorry. He averaged 9.2 points and 6 rebounds. Before that, third-year player, sorry. The redshirting makes it always confusing. But as a third-year player, which would be his redshirt sophomore season there, he actually was even better, 11.6 points, 7.1 rebounds. Potentially the reason for the slight step back, or really the lack of progression, likely health. So that's the big question with him, is how healthy can he stay? But quite the addition, if healthy, that he could be at Clemson with his post moves and touch around the rim. Great little hook shot there. So that was, better than we expected to fill a, pretty prominent need with Hall and Godfrey and Lida all leaving. So huge get for Clemson there. The one that we didn't quite see coming that's really exciting because, you expected them to bring in a post player. You didn't know for sure that they'd bring in another big time guard. And that's what they do with Jaden Zachary from Boston College. He scored 40 points across 2 games against Clemson this year. Was a real pain. He's a great 3-point shooter, shot over 40% this year, 40.5%. Now, he's got to replace a lot of the scoring that Joe Girard leaves. He's not really a Joe Girard style player. Girard attempted 254 3-pointers. Jaden Zachary attempted 79. So he's not going to put up the volume of 3-pointers, but he still averaged over 11 points per game. And he's more of a slasher, a cutter. Really, I watched his tape. I remember him eating us alive in those 2 games. He's more of a Chase Hunter style player where he's going to attack the basket. He averaged 4.3 assists per game, which would have led Clemson. He had 1 more assist per game than Chase Hunter, might have 4.2, but above 4 assists per game. And so now you're going to have him and Chase Hunter if Chase Hunter returns. And I guess that's the kicker, because in an interview, here's what he said about choosing Clemson. Being able to play not against, but playing with a great guard like Chase Hunter is something that kind of also got me to come here, because playing next to someone like that, especially for your last year, could help a lot. So he's already, I don't know if he was supposed to let the cat out of the bag there, but he's anticipating Chase Hunter is coming back. We've heard Brownell kind of hint at it, that if they can get NIL money, they can make it work. Maybe it's more or approximately equivalent to what he could get if he goes overseas, because he's probably not an NBA prospect. He had an incredible tournament, but the season isn't really going to get probably him drafted. So imagine now Zachary and Chase Hunter, those are your starting guards. You still have Wiggins. You maybe have Hemingway. You have Alex Heidbreder coming off redshirt. He's a great 3-point shooter, could shoot it at right around 40%. So you've got some good players there, guard and wing, right? And now you've added Laken to go with Shefflin. So your front court is not decimated like it seemed like it would be. So I still think they'll add 1 more. They've got the room to at least add like a depth like that. I think it's still adding that Mark Donald type of center for depth would be great. Or maybe convincing RJ Godfrey to come back would be even better. But this team looks pretty good. And so what we anticipated as, in 2018, they made the tournament, and then they they faded for a while. They didn't win a tournament game. They only made 1 tournament between then and this Elite 8 run last year. Now it seems like with the facilities, the way the portal is more fruitful and how good Brownell is at it, seems like they could take the success and they're ready to build on it. They also bring in 3 freshmen, one of their better classes. Freshmen at Clemson don't typically make a huge impact immediately, but I think you're having a reason for optimism that wasn't a fluky, one-off season. So a lot of reason for optimism. Really exciting to see them land, both of those guys, and especially Zachary, kind of out of the blue. So big additions for Clemson basketball. A lot to be excited about. So hey, before I get out of here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate all the folks who like these videos and subscribe to the channel. It's really helped it grow, and I'm hoping to get up to 1,000 subscribers before football season. I think we're well on our way. So thanks again for watching. As always, go Tigers.